All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm having a drink. And we're going to talk about capacitors. Now, most of you probably have never dealt with a capacitor. I guarantee you've used one today. There's probably one in yours. There are probably a lot of them in your cell phone, to be completely honest with you. But right now, we're talking about this particular capacitor, which happens to be a part I removed from my air conditioning. Now, to be fair, my house has insulation that is older than I am, and that insulation long ago crumbled to dust, and my house is basically almost unlivable without air conditioning. And the problem is, like, why don't you just get insulation put in? Well, for one, I live in Southern California, and my work keeps screwing with me, so I keep losing my job and not having a consistent income, and even then, living on one job, you can't maintain a home. It's very hard. And, secondly, like, yes, the insulation is a problem, but the wiring is also too old, and the house basically needs to be rewired. You got to do that before you do the insulation. I mean, you can do it after, but it's more expensive. And it's like, once you do that, okay, so that's several $1,000s. And then you do the insulation. I think it'd be around $3,000 or $4,000, but I haven't gotten a quote. And, once you get that done, like, there are other things, and it builds. So, really, what I practically need to do is box up everything in this entire house. And have it completely remodeled, which I don't have the money for. And I can sit there and try to do piecemeal stuff, but it's not going to happen. By the time I have the money to get the next thing fixed, the thing I got fixed got broke. So it's just one of those things that, for the moment at least, I have to live with it. Then we come to this particular part. This is the most common part to fail on an air conditioning unit, is the capacitor. I actually saw videos where people recommended you keep an extra one of these on hand so that when yours goes out, you can just fix it. And it's like, basically speaking, there's a panel, and there's one panel that comes off, and you see the circuitry for the device. This is in there. There were two things plugged into these feet up here. I took a picture of it. I pulled this thing out. I went on Amazon. I ordered a new one. They say the brand doesn't matter. It's the specs. It fit the specs, so I got a new one. And I replaced it myself, and my air conditioning is working again. And that's very important, because this room will get up to 100 degrees without air conditioning. Well, it will get way hotter than that. But in June, in California, on a reasonable day, this room will get up to 100 degrees. So it's generally 20 degrees more, 20 to 30 degrees more than it is outside. So I used to do videos in here, and I would sweat so bad that I would have to throw out the video because it was so hot. And even now, I believe my air conditioning has been running for an hour, and it's 80 degrees in the house. So, I mean, really, for this house, you have to go quite the distance to repair it. It's practically falling apart. It's almost to the point where you'd have to knock it down and build a new one. It's not that bad yet, but it's getting there. All right? So there being the thing is that if I had gotten somebody to replace this for me, it would have been $200. The replacement part was $14. So I think with taxes and everything, I paid under $15 to get this replaced and get my air conditioning back on. And I mean, you know, it's like $200 is a reasonably large amount of money to me. It's not nothing. I mean, it's less than I used to spend on fast food every month. I spend less now, but you know, I think I've gotten to the point where I go maybe twice a week to get fast food, although if I get a regular assignment, I will probably go more. But one of the things you have to ask yourself is, if one of these things can get knocked out just by a hot day, which, I mean, what it's designed to do is cool things, why don't we make these better? I mean, couldn't they have made a $100 version that lasts for 50 years, the life of the unit, as opposed to this piece of garbage? Yes, probably they could. And the tutorial I saw to fix this even said that a perfectly good, but cheap, I guess, perfectly good capacitor on your air conditioning can go out if there are 3 days of 100-degree plus weather. And I live in California. There are commonly 3 days of 100-degree plus weather, particularly with global warming. So on the one hand, I'm glad that I saved myself some money. On the other hand, this has been a miserable experience. I think this thing conked out last October. And it's October, you know. Next month is November. It should be colder. And, you know, now I'm filming this in June. Probably going to post it sometime in July. Gotten to the point where I can't work without this thing fixed. So now I've got it fixed, and hopefully I can stop lying to myself about not being able to work. Anyway, moment in my life. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope wherever you are, you're more comfortable than I am. I'm Richard. Danger Ducky says, based on my readings of your strange dimension, you should comment, like, and subscribe.